Hi students, this section is on equations and inequalities. So the first title of this slide is Checking and Solving Equations. So what is an equation? Our first definition says an equation is formed when an equal sign is placed between two expressions, creating a left and right side of the equation. A solution of an equation is when a variable, meaning a letter, is replaced by a number, making a statement true or false. So let's look at our first example here. It says check whether the numbers 3 and 4 are solutions of the equation. So here we have 5x minus 7 equals 8. What we're going to do is substitute 3 in for x to see if it equals 8, and then we're going to substitute 4 in for x to see if that equals 8. So if we have here 5 times x, we'll first solve for 3. Minus 7, does that give me 8? Well, 5 times 3 is 15. And 15 minus 7, does that give me 8? It does. So we would say yes, 3 is a solution. But now let's plug in 4 for x. So if we have 5 times 4 minus 7, does that give me 8? Well, 5 times 4 is 20. 20 minus 7, does that give me 8? It does not give me 8. So we would say no, 4 is not a solution. And that's how we would go about solving that. Substituting the numbers in to see if it equals that value 8. Our next example, solving and working with equations, it says solving an equation is when you find all the solutions of an equation. And they want us to use mental math to solve this equation here for A. So we have to think what plus 2 is going to give me 6? Well, what could be the number for x? Well, if we substitute 4 in for x, let's see if that works. So 4 plus 2, does that equal 6? It does. So my answer here is x equals 4. For B, we have 2x. So 2 times what will give me 10? Well, 2 times 5 gives me 10. So we're going to say x equals 5. Now we're going to look at a few inequality situations. I do want you writing the chart here that you see, but first write the 2 bullet points. Inequalities. An inequality is formed when the following symbols, this is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, are placed between expressions. A solution of inequalities is a number that produces a true statement when it is substituted in for a variable in an inequality situation. So here we have the charts of what the different inequality symbols mean. Here we have the less than, greater than. Greater than, I always think like the crocodile mouth might eat you first. So that's how I look at greater than. When you have the lines underneath the symbols, that means it's less than or equal to. So it could equal or be less than, or greater than or equal to, meaning it could equal or be greater than the number. So let's look at some inequality examples here. Example number 3, it says decide whether 3 is a solution of the inequality. So we're going to substitute 3 in for x to determine if these are true scenarios or not. So for A, we're going to plug in 3 for x. So 3 times 3 minus 2, is that greater than 5? When we're solving this, think of orders of operation, PEMDAS. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 2. Is that greater than 5? Well, 9 minus 2 gives me 7. And 7 is greater than 5, so this is a true inequality, true situation right here. Okay? Notice I showed my steps, circled my answer. For B, let's plug in 3 for x. 3 plus 5. Is that less than 8? Well, 3 plus 5 is 8. Is 8 less than 8? Well, it doesn't have the equal to sign. So this is actually going to be false because actually 8 equals 8. If this said 8 was less than or equal to 8, then we could say that's true, but it's just saying less, so this is false. For C, let's plug in 3 for x here. So 3 minus 1, is that greater than or equal to 2? Well, 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 is equal to 2, but what we have here is 2 is greater than or equal to 2. So yes, 2 is greater than or equal to 2. So we would say this is a true situation right here. Last one, D. Again, substituting 3 in for x. So we have 4 times 3 squared. Is that less than or equal to 32? Well, we first have to look at our exponents. 3 times 3 gives me 9. So this is 4 times 9. Is that less than or equal to 32? 4 times 9 gives me 28. 28 is less than or equal to 32. That is a true situation right there. So we will say this is true because 28 is less than 36. That is it for this section. We'll continue some examples in bookwork in class.